Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we will be going over how to make a custom waterfall in Minecraft and potentially how to even create a secret entrance to make a hidden base as well. So let's get started. So we start off with this basic idea of a sort of hillside wall in Minecraft. So you go into survival world, you're going out in nature and you find this basic cliffside. This is a lot simpler than it would be, but basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to make sure you have a water source and a start, which would be up here. So you would go up to the top of the hill and you would clear up this. And whether there's a water source up there or not, that you can easily put a water bucket like I'm going to do. But it may be easier to just find one that already has a water source. So you do like this. And then you're also going to want a end zone. Now, it's not always guaranteed that it'll flow straight down. Let's say you have a bit rougher terrain like usual. Your terrain decides to flow like this. The standard vanilla mess. It should still work. But what you're going to want to do after this is basically it's pretty simple. Just dig out a hole back here. That is a good hidden base entrance. Now, if you want to make it a little more complicated, here's where you keep taking it to the next step. So, you can always add things like carpets, cobwebs, things like stained glass even. A personal favorite of mine when it comes to waterfalls is always adding white and gray stained glass to the base. Now you have to do this right, or it will flow all over the place, as you just saw. How do you fix that? Now, let me quickly just grab the stained glass. And there we go. The way you fix it will be via adding barriers with the same material as the wall you sourced it from. So like so, you would basically go on up here and take this stone and you're going to build upward like this. And actually you can even change the whole root of the thing just by using this strategy. But look at that, it suddenly has a lot more shape to it, but your water is going to not be flowing into whatever course it chooses. So there we go. That is a simple tutorial on how to make a waterfall. Now, this is a building channel. So, you know I can't just let you off with just that ugly little thing I just made. We have to make one that you could actually incorporate into builds. It doesn't have to be anything special, or maybe it does. So we're going to actually make a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing waterfall right now. So this one is a bit more of starting entirely from scratch. Let's get to it. Now you will notice here that I went for a very different approach from the last one. The reason for this is basically, this time we are going for the actual looks. Instead of using grass, we're actually going to use moss because it's more full block. For the base of it, we're going to go sand. We're going to use dripstone block for the lower section and possibly the interior as well. We're going to fade up into andesite and then go into tough block. But the first step behind making a custom waterfall for your builds is you always want to get the shape down first. So we're going to start with our andesite and just get that shape in. So I'm going to want mine to have a bit of a twist to it. So I'm going to go ahead and first, you don't want any two sides to be the same if you can avoid it. Now up here in this section, there's going to be a little pool. Yes, if you ever have a twist or any sort of directional change in a waterfall build, you generally want to add a pool where there's the water gathered from that directional change. And then once you have that going, you will proceed with the same sort of design. And this is how you will basically get to your location you're looking for. Okay. Now we will basically proceed with another pool up here where it all sources from. Okay. So water is generally the last thing you add when it comes to a waterfall build, or at least from my experience, because you have to always build out the shape first. So there we go, we have the shape built out. Now we're going to basically, now we have the shape built out, we're going to switch to our gradient. So the first thing we're going to bring out is going to be the dripstone, as I said before. Now if you've seen any of my tutorials, basically it's always all about just building it up. Now, you can do what I'm doing right now, or you can also build it into the interior. So what I'm going to do, just to make things a little easier on you, is I'm going to explain both methods in one go. We're going to simply build inward like this. We're going to basically loop up. So, like this. And I'll just cut to the next section. That we'll be right back and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. So we have all the dripstone in place. So what you will do now is you will switch to the andesite. And to mix it into a few places, but don't be too hard on your mixing because you don't want to overpower. But okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with this. Now always consider every piece of your structure. You want the flow to be perfect. Don't accidentally overwrite part of your structure you had intent for it to be something else. So since we're sticking to our gradient, we're going to basically build upwards like this. Now here's what I was trying to show you a second ago. But when you're doing a build like this, you can either build inward or like up at this angle relative to the build, or you can build in this way so that this same section is facing you, just next to the build. So what we're going to do right now is demonstrate that right here, making a very concave sort of design. Okay. And in doing so, we will now have the ability to proceed with the next part of our build. Now also remember, you want to maintain the palette when you are building the interior as well, where they're all going to flow from. So also do try to not have it a single layer. Do have a rough layer as well. So what I just did right here is I made it to where the course the flow down is not going to be solid, but it's going to be more of a change. I'm going to mimic this up on this section. So what we're going to do is take all our little tuff and build on up until we get to the top. Once we get to the top, we can proceed with all the other fun stuff. Okay, and then switch back to your andesite. Oh, that's stone. I didn't mean to switch to that. It's another build. Yeah. Now that we have all this in place, we can go ahead and lay down the interiors of our pools. But we also want to, as I said, get this going. So go ahead and make sure it has more than one direction to flow. And when we're done with this, basically it will flow all in one spot. But it will be a pretty interesting design flow rather than what it could be if you didn't. It's going to be a more broken up flow. Because with waterfalls, especially like this one, generally uniform flow isn't always the case. So let's go ahead and switch to the material we're going to build the base of it out of, which is going to be our sandstone. So go ahead and make it whatever depth you choose. You can make it all the way down to the bottom if you wanted, which we might as well do that, but we're not going to because of time's sake. And what we're going to do is just keep looping it around. Make this one a depth of about 2 blocks. And there we go. And repeat on the other 2 pools, which we have to dig this pool down there though. So get to that. Now, another thing you can consider is that there's a lot of vegetation you can add to this, a lot of other decorations, and you also want to generally place this in a source of an area that's going to allow it to stand out, but not stand out too much. So what I'm trying to say is, as with any build, placement is crucial. So, good place to put this particular build is like in a garden of some sort, or next to a pathway, something like that. Now as we proceed on, we won't bother really putting anything on the bottom of this section, but just to get the point across, we're going to knock all this out. And yeah, now we can go ahead and add our water. Now, after we've added the water, there's going to be another step, which you've probably been wondering where the moss is at. You'll be getting to that in just a sec. Now, you don't generally add the flow till you get to the top. So we're going to work our way from the bottom to the top, so we get a clean idea of how the water is flowing. This Minecraft water mechanics are a very tricky thing. So what we're going to do is be messing with all this. Okay, now look, that's what I was talking about. It will flow cleanly like that. We have to add a second one somewhere else. And if you want to disrupt the flow a bit more later, you can always do something like this and just change the flow a bit more to your taste. Okay, then we go on up to the top, keep the process. Alright, and upon turning all those into source blocks, we have this little design, which obviously that one's in the way. So we're going to take this and put this here. Alright, look at that. We're still missing something. What are we missing? We're going to probably need to add some moss blocks. As we set them aside earlier, the reason they're here is for this. So we're basically going to add some green to this build. So as we go around, basically you can just sort of scatter these in. Another thing you can use is leaves and stuff like that. So the overall just improves the appearance of the thing just by not making it all a single gray or whatever other color block. So you can actually just hold down your block key and just keep spinning around as long as you don't cover up your actual, waterfall itself. Good. And would you look at that? It's almost done. Basically, the difference between this one over here and this one over here, that this one would probably be more for concealing a hidden base, and it probably isn't as much as an aesthetic thing, but you can still use the same strategy back here. Just knock out a few things right here, and you're in. So there we go. So if you liked this tutorial, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and possibly consider giving a subscription or even a comment. Any feedback is always welcome, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.